And run.
So, sorry, it's a little technically difficult for me. Okay, so according to Sal Viviano, this is our best lighting yet. So we're going to commit to this lighting.
No, actually, we'll have to get Sal's opinion, Seth, because I added a layer because we saw how great Charles Busch's lighting was.
Stunning.
So to try to outdo him, or at least match him, I turned on these lights and that light.
I think it's actually good.
So we'll see what happens.
So I'm Seth Rudetsky. It's James Wesley.
Hi.
Every day, 2 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, we do Stars in the House. People watch, feel connected, and then on top of that, if they can, they donate to the Actors Fund. Actors Fund, misnomer, not just for actors. Actors, musicians, dancers, stagehands.
Every professional in the performing arts across the country, we're including wedding singers in this, everyone. But the arts, I say, is at stake here, because when this is over, and as Dr. LaPook says, there's a beginning, middle, and end to this. We just don't know where we are in that spectrum. But we have to do our part to make sure that the arts organizations are there at the end. Are you checking the lights? What the heck are you doing? Anyway, we have some donations before we get started. And please, if you're watching, share this. Spotco is generously donating their time and energies and employees to help us in this endeavor. So they created new handles for us at Stars in the House, which Seth will put up in a minute. But I wanted to read some donations that came in.
So you can go to @Stars in the House. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's really going to help. So just follow us. We're going to have lots of pictures, videos, whatnot.
Absolutely. So this is from the end of last night's show with Fun Home. Sarah from Maryland gave $100 to the Actors Fund. Jolene from Nevada, $50. Linder from Georgia, $25.
Wait, Linder? That's how they pronounce it on Long Island.
Linder from Georgia, $25. Maybe it's a transplant. Kim from Virginia, $25. Catherine from California, $50. Patrick from New York, $25, and Jacob from Illinois, $25, for a grand total of $119,900 since 2 weeks ago today.
That's
all for the Actors.
Crazy. I just need to, I'm going to have to talk to Julie Halston about Linder, because Julie and I understand that accent. That is crazy. She's just owning it. She's like, you know what? No more Linda, Linder.
Hey, before we bring Charles and Julie on, we have on today's show, we have Charles Busch, we have Julie Halston, and we have Ian Armitage.
And special guest star, my classical pianist pal, brilliant Jeffrey Beagle, who's going to be playing classical piano live, which I love doing for like 2 measures. And after that, I'm like, I'm out. He's giving us a full classical concert. So just wait.
And of course, Dr. John LaPook, the chief medical correspondent for CBS News, who's going to be joining us later on. Anyway, we get all sorts of emails, and I've got a couple of my friends in Los Angeles who have taken on that volunteer duty to look through all the emails, because it's wonderful, the response. And this one they sent to me that I thought was really wonderful. Hello, Seth and James. My name is Luisa, and I'm 24 years old, writing to you from Brazil. I just wanted to reach out and tell you how much your show has been helping me cope with all that's been going on. I'm very fortunate that most of my family and I are able to quarantine in a safe place with plenty of food and comfort. Unfortunately, I know that's not the case for most people, especially here in Brazil. We're doing our part, staying home safe and trying to take it one day at a time. And something that I've been doing to keep my sanity is remembering that there's only so much that I can do, and that there's no point in filling my head with worries that I cannot solve. And therefore, your show is a great way to help keep me from losing it almost every day. And I just wanted to reach out and tell you that. Thank you, Luisa from Brazil.
That is so amazing. Nice. We're watching. By the way, someone else was watching in LA, our good pal, Marco Panette.
Hey, Marco.
Hi, Marco. So we have from Brazil to LA.
So, Seth, do you want to say the big news? It's one of the reasons why we were running around today. We had that phone call at 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. So if you can watch while this is on.
If you can't watch.
If you cannot watch while this is on, we're actually now going to, we have not even a deal. SiriusXM is, I know, SiriusXM is going to be broadcasting now Stars in the House. It's so amazing. SiriusXM goes everywhere. And by the way, now you can get it. You know, there's an app. So people keep going, I'm not in my car, I can't listen to you. There's an app on your phone. You can listen anywhere. So SiriusXM is going to broadcast Stars in the House on this new channel called Volume. I guess starring my mother, because she always screams.
It's channel 106, and it's going to begin, crossing fingers because this is all volunteer staff, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern on Volume channel 106 on SiriusXM. And we're still figuring it out. We think it's going to be a combination of both the afternoon and evening show, but Tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. But I mean, by the way, all the episodes are available.
Yeah,
online.
people keep thinking they go away.
FYI.
If you go to starsinthehouse.com, you can watch every single episode. I mean, there's so many. By the way, Channel 106, Julie Halston and I can concur. It's also our goal weight. What? Not cool.
All right, okay, so, bring them on?
Yes. Okay, so here are two of my absolute favorite stars. I'm so excited to have them on. The two brilliant comedians, Charles Busch and Julie Halston. Hey. Okay, so everybody, tell me, Charles Busch, where are you right now?
I'm here in my beautiful apartment in Greenwich Village, in the Bohemian Quarter.
Got to cut. Julie Halston, where are you, besides in a lot of light?
I'm in a lot of light, yes. And I have no lights on. It's just my natural radiance, I think. I'm in my co-op in Midtown on the Twinkle Light block, 55th Street.
And so, how are you two coping through all this? I try to ask everyone, how you're doing, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Like it's, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I actually started yesterday exercising from my living room. It's kind of sad, but I'm trying to do crunches. I'm trying to stay thin because, as Seth knows, I have a terrible fear of gaining weight, and in a way, I've been, doing the Netflix stuff and Amazon, but I've been reading a lot. I've been doing a lot of my clips online, and they've really taken off. So I've been very happy about that.
You have to watch them. Julie Halston is doing her stand-up specials kind of in little increments. They're so brilliant. I've been watching them on Facebook. That's where people should go to watch you.
Facebook or actress Julie Halston on Instagram, and I've been getting like 1,000 views, 1,200 views. People, and they're sharing all over the place, like 60 views here, 90 views there. I mean, sharing, and it's really been great. They've really taken off, so I'm really pleased about that.
I'm putting the link in right now. Charles, what are you doing to stay healthy?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, really tell you honestly, my life isn't very different from usual because I spend most of the day writing. I've got a bunch of things I'm working on, but I do miss going out in the evening with friends and having dinners out. It's a little bit like being on cell block B, and solitary confinement.
Right.
But it's okay. I'm dealing with it.
Well, I'm so excited you're both here today. By the way, we have a Tony winner watching us with some very specific news. Greg Jabara is in his underwear. Just FYI. Blue Bloods fan. Thank you, guys. Okay, so you two clowns began. Hold on, I'm going to get rid of this banner. Yeah. You two clowns began back in the day at a place called Limbo Lounge. Julie, what were you working as when Charles first hauled you in?
I was a corporate librarian in an investment counsel firm at 1 Broadway, and I was, in a very, very straight-laced job, and then I would leave that job and become a vampire lesbian of Sodom. It was quite a double life.
We're going to be doing something from that show later on, which I'm obsessed with. I actually want to first begin. Julie Halston, speaking of comedy bits, can you do the crazy autobiography that I heard you read once? Is it Joan? Is that the one that you do?
It's Joan Crawford.
Yes, please do that. Would you do that?
And you know what I thought, as a treat to you, because Seth, you've been so good to me and always promoting, Broadway and us. You're just such a treasure for us. I thought I would give your fans a treat. I'm going to read something from Joan Crawford's My Way of Life. And this is a reading I have never done before publicly. Wow. So it's a premiere. So I thought this would be good for you, Seth. This is dedicated to you, Seth. It's Joan Crawford, My Way of Life. For years, I've washed my daughter's hair with raw eggs, never shampoo. I wet their hair first, and then I rub in 6 whole eggs. It's a trick I learned from Kate Hepburn. Some people use eggs beaten up with a jigger of rum. Others mix red wine. And hot oil is good for the hair and scalp. Wrap the head in a warm towel and keep changing the hot oil. The hotter, the better, every hour. And then I put cologne. I massage it into the scalp for oily hair. And then I put in some tea and vinegar for highlights. And then I make my girls give their hair a brushing of 100 strokes. It stimulates the hair growth. And then I pull their hair. I pull their hair. Gently, of course, to encourage the growth. Joan Crawford's my way of life.
Wow.
Gotta love her. Gotta love her.
You gotta love her. She was putting hot oil on those girls' heads every hour with rum and red wine. It's
That's something we can do while we're quarantined.
You're so actually abuse. Let's just say it. But
Right. Yeah.
So, Bush, you're so obsessed with these, old broads. I never have asked you, did you ever meet any of your old Hollywood legends that you've been obsessed with?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was an interesting thing. There was a period when we were first doing these plays off Broadway that these ladies would see us. Clutter Colbert and Louise Reiner, the two-time Oscar winner. She came, and Claire Trevor. And they really were exactly like their screen characters. Claudette Colbert was just sort of delicious and witty, and and they often, all three of them mentioned somehow in conversation that I suppose the first ugly star was Betty Davis. Each one of them felt they had to offer that bit of information. She was the only one still working. Maybe that's why.
So one of the theater greats passed away relatively recently, Zoe Caldwell.
Yeah.
And I would love you to talk a little bit about that crazy way you met her, that brazen way you met her, and then sort of how she influenced you.
Okay, well, I'll try to edit the story a bit. Just I grew up in New York City, and I started going to Broadway shows when I was 7 years old. So I guess I was 14. I went to see The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, starring Zoe Caldwell. This is in the late 60s. And it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen, ever. And, Broadway was very loose back then. I just somehow went into the stage door after the matinee, and, cops let me in, and I found her dressing room. It was a very different world, and I found her in her dressing room after the matinee, and I was about 14, looked 11. And she was so kind to me. And at one point I said, I want to be an actor. And she held my face up to the light and said, well, you have the face of an actor. Of course, that means nothing. And so, years went by, and, I just had this, as I got my own career in the theater, my dream was that she would see me perform and think I was talented. And then somehow in 1991, when Julie and I were doing this play called Red Scare on Sunset, I met someone who had a connection to her, and anyway, one day the phone rang, and I answered it. The voice is, "This is Zoe Caldwell. I'm coming to your play. I won't tell you when." So then we're doing the show. It's a Friday night, and it's one of those dead audiences. And this, I was fairly young, and so I was of the mind that if you had a quiet audience, you just worked harder. And I did everything basically but stick a cucumber up my ass. I just was desperate trying to get a laugh, And when the show was over, after the house manager said, "There's a Zoe Caldwell here." Oh, God. Oh, God. And in she walked, and she was so exotic. She was a small woman, but all in black, and black coal on her eyes. And she, she was just my idol. And so she comes up to me, and she takes my face in her hands, and she says, You're so beautiful, but you are pushing, and you are hamming it up, and you are pandering to the audience, and I don't ever want to see you do that ever again. You're better than that. Don't ever do that again. And she really lit into me, and the rest of the cast were wondering, who the hell is this lady? But I was just, yes, ma'am. And she did the cruel imitation of my performance, and then, when it was finally, I sort of thanked her for coming to the show, and off she fled into the night. And to my credit, I have to say that I did not defend myself or make excuses. And I really, immediately after she left, I honestly thought, well, listen, if she felt strong enough cared enough to lecture me, when much easier, she didn't have to come back at all. Or she could have said, great show, or one of those awful mean-spirited, you really did it. Those kind of lines, they're so awful. But no, she cared enough to really lecture me. And it started seriously. I mean, I don't think there was an overnight change, but it started me on a kind of a 30-year journey of trying to be more honest. And it's hard sometimes when you do this kind of camp movie pastiche plays to find that honest place and to just be human. And so I worked on that it's just what she taught me or started me off has been very, very important to me.
I love that she has such an influence on you.
Yeah.
I asked Charles to do, he has so many characters I love so much, but there's one that I love because back in the day I worked at Until Mama's Rose's Turn. I knew the whole cabaret world. And Charles does a character, she's a cabaret singer?
Yes. A cabaret singer, yes. And she's also been the president of the Manhattan Independent Cabarets, Restaurants, and Clubs, MyCrack. So she is the president emeritus of that. And anyway, yes, but she performs regularly in some of our smaller rooms.
Her name is Miriam Passman, and everyone's sort of out to get her. She's always in a feud with another cabaret artist. She's also given the worst times for her shows, but she has no awareness of horrible times. Wait, when does Miriam Passman normally perform her act?
Well, here, I'll read you a little bit of a piece here. Now, I have to go a little Meryl Streep here with the glasses. I hope you don't mind. All right. It feels very good being back where I belong, here at Don't Tell Mama, in my old time slot, Sundays at 4:30. Out here this afternoon, I see so many of my loved ones in the cabaret community. The wondrous Florence Edelman, mentor, colleague. The diva, always ready with a hug, a chai tea, and constructive criticism. You're really missing something. If you haven't seen Florence's new show, Florence Edelman, I've Got a Right to Sing the Blues. She's at the Triad Tuesdays at 10:30. I'm at a special place in my life where I enjoy making other people's dreams a reality. For the past 3 years, I have taught a master class, The Art of Cabaret Performance, at the Learning Annex on West 37th Street. Many talented young people have attended our master classes, but I lavished considerable attention on one particular young lady, Amy. She had a unique sound, an instinctive way with phrasing, dare I say, a charisma. But unfortunately, an arrogance and a belligerence. She rejected all of my suggestions for song choices and insisted on singing her own compositions. They were not suitable for cabaret. One song employed the F word, the C word, the N word, the S word, the B. This young lady not only dismissed my teachings, but accused me of living vicariously through her and being resentful of her youth. Oh, it gets worse. She reported me to the powers that be at the Learning Annex. What followed was a witch hunt. I was brought up on charges of negativity and bullying. Bullying me. At the age of 13, nearly killed myself from being taunted with the nickname Jug Ears. I am but part of a long continuum of censored teachers. Galileo, Plato, the monkey trial. After an emotional contretemps, the police were summoned. I was forcibly ejected from the Learning Annex, sheet music flying. I was threatened with pepper spray. I'm still experiencing discomfort in my rotator cuff. All I can say is thank God my musical director, Ron Schiavo, had his Volvo parked outside on 37th Street. There was no press lurking about. A postscript. I've heard through the grapevine that my former student, Amy, has been signed to a recording contract. We wish her well on all of her endeavors. I put up flyers at both the Ripley Greer and Pro Rehearsal Studios, and I hope to assemble a small but enthusiastic class that I will hold in my own music room here in my duplex apartment. We will not be bullied. We will not be silenced. We will sing loud and proud. Thank you.
First of all, she's always like near arrest for some reason.
She's thwarted.
Well, everyone,
hey, Charles, we wanted to share a few comments from people who are watching. I adored my time as Yo-Yo in Psycho Beach Party 15 years ago. One of my favorite films is Die, Mommy, Die. Look at this one. Oh, hold on. There you go. Bravo. OMG. I love Die, Mommy, Die. It's on my quarantine rotation.
Thank you.
There's such an essence of Tell the Allergist's Wife in that. Oh, David Drake.
Oh my gosh, my old buddy.
Did that character lead into Tell the Allergist's Wife?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a character I'd done in a solo show called Flipping My Wig, and I was just doing it all over. And I always thought that she'd be the good basis of a play. And then I got an opportunity through Manhattan Theater Club to write this play. And I wrote it. And I wrote it for Linda Lavin. And then she played it and got a Tony nomination for it.
Yeah, what a play. Okay, so hold on. So we're going to say goodbye to you and Julie for a second.
Bring on Dr. LaPook for
I'm going to bring on Julie. We're going to say goodbye. We're going to bring you back soon for some amazing scene work with the both of you.
All right.
Go nowhere. Okay, so hold on. There we go.
Okay, I can see ahead of time what a certain Dr. LaPook put down as his screen name. And this is because, go ahead.
Here's the deal. We haven't worked out yet who sings Dr. LaPook the link. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's David. It always winds up, both of us forget, the show begins, Dr. LaPook texts us, and it's like, can you send me the link? So his name is Dr. LaPook, but for today, he's being known apparently as Top Liver. We're sorry, we're so behind.
Hey, I'll sit here in the corner in the dark. It's okay. If you want to call on me, it's all right. If not, it's okay.
He's the chief medical correspondent from CBS and from Stars in the House. Dr. LaPook, it's so good to see you. Everyone feels some comfort from you. What's the latest in medical news?
Well, this morning we did a CBS This Morning piece. I spoke to Anthony Mason about they went live with this very first in Houston. They gave 2 people who were critically ill a transfusion of antibodies in plasma. Plasma is the clear part of blood. If you get rid of the white cells and the red cells and the platelets, and if you let that plasma clot, it becomes even clearer. It becomes something called serum. But anyway, you'll be hearing these terms, which is why I'm defining them now. They got antibodies, and now fingers and toes crossed that these people get better.
You know what? There was a question that someone asked yesterday regarding the plasma that I didn't put up.
Just FYI, you still got it,
Right.
Dr. LaPook. Sorry.
But, for those of us who grew up with AIDS around, who were born at a certain time, we weren't able to donate blood for years and years because we were gay. And then it was actually Julie, our kid, who said, and she looked it up, that changed a few years ago, which I didn't even know. So someone actually asked the question, if I've tested positive and I'm now fine and I'm gay, can I
for coronavirus
and I'm gay, can I donate?
Yeah, I mean, I just was reading about this, that there's a whole protocol for people who are going to be getting, who are worried about what they're going to be receiving if they do have coronavirus. They are screening it for lots of viruses, so being gay shouldn't disqualify you. Having HIV would be different, or having hepatitis, or having some other type of chronic virus. But, it's interesting that you mentioned the AIDS crisis, and I'm realizing there's been an echo in me personally about this, because in March of 1981, I was an intern at Columbia Presbyterian in New York City when I saw the very first patient who we didn't know it was AIDS, but first bed on the left in the intensive care unit. I can tell you his name. It was called GRID back then, right? Gay-related immunodeficiency. And, you become a doctor, and you think you're going to, I'm a newly minted doctor, you think you're going to save people and all that. And then, every patient I saw who had this terrible disease died, one after the other, after the other, after the other, devastated, as you remember. And, years went by, and then sometime in the late 80s, mid-late 80s, the successful medication came, and it turned the tide. And when the normal, and then we never talked about it. There was no counseling for us or anything like that. And I was watching The Normal Heart the second time I watched it. It was when it came back the second time, and I'm watching it from the audience. And at the very end, remember the scene at the end where you see everybody's faces, their actual faces on the side of the thing? And the theater empties out, and I'm with Kate, my wife Kate, and I can't move. And I suddenly realized that I had never really processed all of that. Whether it was a form of, PTSD, it wasn't technically that, but I felt it. And this is an echo of that in some way. This feeling as I'm speaking to somebody who I've been a mentor for, and she is an intern at UCLA, and it's March of her internship, and in March of my internship, I confronted this unknown, scary thing that I thought there was a good chance I was could get it and die, because we were drawing blood, and people were sticking each other, getting needle sticks. And she, in March of her internship year, is, on the front lines at UCLA going through the same thing, and we had a really beautiful discussion about it. But anyway, that's just sort of a brain dump. I don't know where that was going, but it came out when you said that about the AIDS crisis. And I think there's a lot about this for people who are younger and have not been through the AIDS crisis, when we thought, how are we going to get through this? Or 9/11, when we thought the world will never be the same, which it hasn't been. Or my father, who died 2 years ago at almost 100, and went through Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima, that happened, and the Anabomb. We do get through it eventually, even though we think the world has never seen anything like that, which is true. It's never seen this, but we'll get through it.
That's the best thing. And we have just one question. Someone's wondering, it's not, because you've never mentioned this, it's not spread in your urine, right?
No, we don't think so. I don't think it's been found in urine. I'm going to have to double check that. It has been found in stool, and it's been found in the nasal passageway, and it's been found in sputum. But I don't think it's been found in amniotic fluid yet or in urine. It wouldn't shock me. But the reason why we talked about stool, folks, it can be shed in the stool way after you feel better, and after it's cleared up from your nose. You get a negative test here, and it can still be in the stool. So, sorry to be gross or whatever, nitty gritty, icky, whatever you want to call it. But when you wipe yourself, that hand that you use to wipe yourself, do not touch anything with that hand, especially not the faucet. Use your other hand to turn on the water, to get the soap. Wash your hands. Forget about 20 seconds. How about 30 seconds? Because what can happen is you can touch a faucet, and then you're not going to give it to yourself again, but somebody else can come and touch that faucet and then touch their mouth. So we have to use our words. And people are grown ups, and this is the way it can spread. So let's get
here. We have one more question.
We have one more question here. If your spouse is sick but untested, what about washing dishes he uses? My dishwasher is broken, bad timing.
So he can't wash the dishes because he's so sick. Okay.
Oh no, it's more like if she's washing.
He's worried about.
He's the guy. Yeah. Okay. The whole guy thing. He should wash his own dishes first of all. But second of all, if you wash your hand, as you can touch virus with your hand, and as long as you don't touch those hands to your mouth, nose, or eyes, you shouldn't get it. So wash the dishes. Soap. It's a wimp for soap. It's got a lipid membrane which dissolves with soap. Just soap and water, hot soap, or don't burn yourself, but warm water, soap. Get the tips of your fingers, the knuckles, simple stuff.
Hey, in before we go back, several people have been commenting, and I would love for you to find an answer for us, being gay ourselves, that a lot of people are saying that it's still for donating blood, which that's why I'm wondering about the antibody test. This right here, and this is not the only person.
Basically, like you cannot be gay and donate,
or you have to be celibate for years. So
I can prove that.
I haven't looked. I'm not Googling while you're talking here, but could you find an answer and let us know later on?
I'll do a little research.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. We're going to see you tonight with the whole cast of Taxi.
Cool.
8 p.m.
And Mary Lou Henner, who has a photograph memory, and she can't forget anything, right? Boy, so it's going to be tough for her to get this whole Stars in the House out of her mind.
She remembers every single date and what she was doing on those dates her entire life. She has this, yeah.
She's going to talk about it, of course. How can we not have her on and talk about that a little bit?
Perfect for you.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be back. Back to Luke. Okay, so now we're going to take a little break. You know, I have a classical piano degree. Basically, haven't played classical piano since then. But I still have friends in the classical world. Here is a concert pianist that tours around the world, and I wanted to talk about because people keep forgetting the Actors Fund is not just for actors. It's for anybody in the business. You could be an usher, a box office person, a dancer, or a classical musician because everyone is being affected. So this is my friend, Jeffrey Beagle. Hi, Jeffrey.
How you doing?
Hi, Jeffrey. Jeffrey and I used to take piano lessons together when we were kids, but he actually got great. So, Jeffrey, how has this virus affected your touring?
Well, basically, the concerts that were canceled are going to be put on for next year, God willing. So we'll just hopefully do that. A couple of people had to back out because they already had next season booked. So once you have something booked, so then maybe they'll put it on the following year. But we're just all working together to just stay safe through this, and then we'll make music when we can, and it'll come back even stronger than probably ever before in our lifetime. I think it's like a cultural renaissance is going to happen.
That's what I'm hoping. I mean, the problem is being a fellow classical musician, it's like you work really hard to get a piece into shape for a concert. Now you got to keep that damn piece in shape until next year.
It'll be better.
All right, you have a good attitude. All right, so Jeffrey Beagle, what are you going to play for us? We've never had a full classical little recital. I'm so excited.
Well, this is kind of, this is actually Gershwin's first piece. Gershwin started writing when this is 1916. He wrote a piece called Rialto Ripples. I actually listened to his recording from Piano Rolls yesterday. I had not heard it before. It's different a little bit. Some of the left-hand things he does, he was an improviser, but this is the first piece that he wrote. And you have to remember, he was inspired by Debussy and Chopin and Ravel.
Yeah, there's a jazz thing going on.
Yeah, when he was, in 1916, it wasn't really, there's a lot of ragtime. Many composers from all over the world were writing a lot of ragtime. So Gershwin, that was his first piece, was a rag called Rialto Ripples. So I'll play it.
All right. I just posted that underneath you.
You want actors? Oh, no.
That was so clean. All right, Jeffrey Beagle, we're going to have you on again. If you can concertize around the world, you can concertize on Stars in the House.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And you're on, people can watch, just go to YouTube and look him up. He has so many amazing performances, some really beautiful Chopin.
Yeah, I'm doing every Saturday at home. I'm doing a 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time concert. I've done 3 already. So this Friday, I'm going to do another one, and it'll be 5 o'clock from home. And I'm actually going to do a new piece that my friend David Foster wrote. He actually said, yes, play it. His new recording is going to come out April 3rd, I believe, or 17th, called 11.
What's his last name?
David Foster.
Oh, isn't like David Foster? David Foster?
David Foster. And got a wonderful piece. He's letting me play this piece for the first time, and I'll probably premiere it on Saturday with some other pieces. I do a whole mixed bag of concert.
Where do we go? To your Facebook page?
Well, it's a personal page, but I'll have it on YouTube also. So you can just look it up on YouTube, so it's open to everybody. And it's a lot of fun to do. Yeah.
Oh, he's so good. All right. Thank you, Jeffrey Beagle. You'll be back. You're fantastic.
Thank you. Be well. Thanks.
There you are. See you soon, I hope. Okay, so now I'm going to go to, we have a little special guest star. He's hopefully going to be part of a whole, we're doing, TV reunions now. So we have the cast of, what's tonight?
Taxi
tonight. This Is Us tomorrow, and Frasier later in the week. And we have more.
Wednesday, yeah.
We have more lined up, and we're hoping he's going to be part of the big TV reunion. But we wanted to bring him on because he loves theater so much, and he's just such a great kid. Please welcome the multi-talented Iain Armitage.
Hey!
Ian,
Good to see you guys.
good to see you.
How old are you now?
I'm 11 now.
How old were you when I first met you?
Like 4 maybe?
Well,
I have no idea.
He came to see Disaster off
you were
Broadway.
like 4 or 5 years
I
old.
did.
So talk
It's
about
really awesome.
you used to be obsessed with theater, and you'd walk around with your tap shoes
I
on.
still am.
No, I'm sorry. What I meant was, but you've not been a part of it, and now you're actually like completely a professional actor. Like, is it everything that you wanted it to be when you were obsessed with it?
I think so, yet more actually. I mean, I really love acting. I want to do a lot more musical theater because, I mean, of course, I love it so much. I've always been so interested in acting in general, and anything I do is so much fun. And I love what I do, and I think that's the best way you can be with what you do in life.
Hashtag non-jaded.
Ian, what are you doing to keep your sanity? Are you doing school? What's happening here?
Keep my sanity. Oh, well, I mean, that probably went years ago. I'm not that old, but I'm definitely crazy. I'm not that old, but I'm crazy. I've been juggling a lot, and I'm learning to juggle 5 juggling balls, and I do 3, 4, and I'm trying to do 5, but I'm not very good at it yet.
All right. So you'll come back when you get up to 5.
Oh my
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dr. Wow, I'm impressed.
That's very impressive.
So Dr. LaPuca's over here says it's really important to keep in touch with loved ones to really connect because we're also isolated. So we wanted to bring on one of your loved ones. Perhaps you recognize your good pal, Mr. Raul Esparza.
Yay! How you doing, Pumpkin?
How you doing?
I did very good.
Are you going to tell them about your tightrope walking?
Well, I mean, now that you brought it up, I'm learning to slackline with my wonderful teacher, Mr. Tony Hernandez, and he's
Genius.
the best.
Genius.
He's teaching me how to do slackline and juggling.
So how do you two know each other?
We know each other through Lee Armitage, who's like just the coolest mom on earth, I think. How many years have we see? Lee was Eric Schaefer's assistant, but mostly the woman who followed Steve Sondheim around when we were doing the Sondheim celebration in 2002.
She's awesome.
And we became great friends then, and then we became family, and then this little guy showed up.
So Ian, Raul has done tons of Broadway plays, but I think all of them have been inappropriate for you. Have you seen any of his work?
I didn't see it with him in it. I saw Company. What else? Your very first musical. Well, Leap of Faith, of course. That was my very first Broadway musical.
That was your first Broadway musical?
Yeah, that was my very first Broadway musical. Wow. I was like 3.
Yeah.
So you were my very first real Broadway musical.
Aww.
I remember that we were at Angus right before the show. You were tap dancing.
Yeah, I remember that. I loved that show. And then there was that scene, like Magic, that song, and you were doing all those magic tricks, and I was like, Wow, and actually, I started doing magic when I was 3, so maybe there was some direct correlation between that and me doing magic.
I'm gonna believe that though. I think you've got this in your blood.
Yeah, you've got a lot of personality.
Performing in general.
So Ian, I want to bring you back with your whole cast. Raul, you gave such an amazing show last time, so you have to come back. Raul was performing in his apartment, guitar, belting, everything. So,
I saw it. He's awesome. I know.
And I know
Yeah, mom makes him watch, but we watch him. I'm just concerned that you're growing up too fast. I can't deal.
No, he's
I
not.
had a picture of us. When was Obama inaugurated?
2008?
Is that 2008? No, not the first time.
2012.
12? I'm trying to find a picture of us in DC, but maybe I'll share it next time.
Yeah, wait. I remember.
January 20th, 2013, Raul.
What year were you born? Wait.
Look at him.
Wow.
I was.
It's the Gerber baby. Seriously, like we think he's been stolen from some kind of.
Yeah.
Stolen.
I'll tell you who's not Jewish. That kid.
He was destined to be a star.
There's not one Jew who looks like that. All right. Let's come back. Raul, we love you. Thank you for being here.
I love you, little guy.
Come back, bye, Raul. How adorable was that? Okay, let me bring on our 2 stars of the day.
Yeah.
Charles Busch and Julie Halston.
Hey there.
Hi.
We're back again.
So Charles, we
I
want
cannot believe the skill set that kid is
Wow.
I mean, just crazy.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
oh, in your spare time, you're going to learn how to juggle and walk a tightrope. You're a television star and a Broadway legend at 11. It's crazy.
Speaking of children, we wanted to remind you of something. Julie, you may not even know this. Charles and I and James were on a Broadway cruise together, and our kid Julie was there. And so was Lila Crawford, who had played Annie in Annie. So cut to the boat didn't dock. We had to put on a variety show at the last minute. So Lila performed. She hadn't done Annie in a few years. And Julie was taking stand-up. And she was doing jokes, I mean, really, basically innocent, but like about having gay dads and like, you know, we didn't understand having a period. And we were like, why are you still getting your period? And she's like, it's better than me not getting it. Whatever. It was really funny jokes. But Charles, whenever Charles Julie and Lila, what would you say to them?
Well, so my friend Kathy was with me on the cruise. We're leaving our stateroom, and then we see at the end of the hallway coming toward us Lila and Julie. So, you know, I'm very good with young people. So I said rather loudly to Kathy, I said, "Oh God, here comes that horrible foul-mouthed comedian and the hideous ex-child star." I loved it.
And every time
Fantastic.
Crawford would always be like, "Hello, Crawford."
Yes, really.
I'd never known anybody with the last name Crawford, so I got such a kick out of this, calling this, you know, lovely young girl, Crawford. And at one of the first variety evenings, I guess that they had Kate Baldwin sang "Maybe," and so all the rest of us were all kind of sitting in this row watching. So I whispered to Andréa Burns. I said, "Oh, Crawford's gonna be pissed. She's singing Baldwin Stiller song. Crawford's gonna be pissed." She whispers to Faith Prince, "Crawford's pissed. Crawford's pissed." Whole rest of the
Hold on, before we get started, Seth, I want to read some. These are some donations that just came in. Because remember, actorsfund.org. Actually, if you are in need, by the way, there's the application process is right there. You can get started at the top of the website.
You can donate at starsinthehouse.com.
Right.
But if you yourself are in need, please go to actorsfund.org. They can help with everything.
Absolutely. So we want to thank.
And by the way, I'm sorry.
Yes,
sorry.
Seth.
This is just a smattering of the donations that we get. We don't read every single donation. They just send us a list of like 7 people throughout. And like we said, we've already raised $110,000. So this is just a couple. 120. Oh my God! Wow.
That's right. Catherine from California donated $50. Patrick from New York, $25. Jacob from Illinois, $25. Bruce from Connecticut, $50. Sharon from Oklahoma, $100. And Howard from California just gave $500 to the Actors Fund. Thank you, everyone.
And
guys, you should also mention that the Actors Fund is also for people's families as well as themselves.
Yeah, the Actors Fund, by the way, has this wonderful, a couple of homes where parents can go. They have a nursing home. They have an assisted living.
Billy Porter talked about that.
Yes, so many wonderful places that can help out, because if you're in the business, then they also help your family. They're just this incredible umbrella organization.
Right.
Okay, I'm so excited. So we're gonna do a little You guys are gonna recreate some of your brilliant work. Should we talk about what Red Scare is about, and then tell us what the scene is?
Okay. Well, this is a play that we did in 1991, and we first did it at the WPA Theater, and then it transferred to the Lucille Hotel. And it's one of my favorite plays. It takes place during the McCarthy era in Hollywood. And I play this rather guileless movie star, Mary Dale. And she discovers, to her horror, that there's this kind of communist plot to take over Hollywood. And the thing was that I didn't think it would be particularly funny to write a story about some poor leftist person who's hounded out of their job. But I thought it could be kind of strangely comic to do it as this extreme right-wing nightmare. And that's where the source of comedy went. And Julie played my best friend, kind of a Martha Ray, wacky radio personality, comedian Pat Pilford. So there's a little scene and I think it doesn't really need to be explained, but where Mary Dale and Pat Pilford are shopping at Bullock's department store. Okay. After this, I thought we'd look at slacks.
No, we're going to talk. What's wrong, Mary?
Nothing's wrong.
Ritz, darling, I'll get it out of you.
Am I so transparent?
Like a silk stocking without a run. It's Frank, isn't it?
Yes, it's Frank. Pat, I really don't want to discuss this, and certainly not here at Bullock's.
Mary, this is Pat. You know, Pat, P-A-T, zany, warm-hearted, bad dye job, your best friend.
I think Frank may be seeing another woman.
Anyone we know?
Oh, yes. Marta Towers.
Don't even. Did you catch them? In flagrante delicto?
What?
Did you catch them in the act? The Soviet version of the old ooh la la.
No, nothing like that. It's only a suspicion, mind you. But I'm scared, Pat. Frank's growing away from me. It's as if I hardly know him anymore.
What's your evidence?
Marta's convinced him to join her method acting class.
Mary, if you let him walk through those doors, you'll never see him again.
What can I do?
You're so helpless. How did you become a star? You must have some steel in your girdle.
He's moved out of the house. I can't very well throw myself in front of his car.
Then you'll have to follow him then.
Oh, I couldn't. He'd be furious.
Well, better angry now than divorced later. Don't you see, Mary? It's not Marta that he loves. It's what she stands for. High art and all that crap. If it was sex he was after, he'd be hot-tailing it with some car hop with big bazooms, not some egg-headed pinko. Face it, girl, your enemy isn't pussy, it's Stanislavski. Want me to play sidekick?
No, I must do this alone. If only I could be sure this was the right thing to do.
Trust Pat. How many times must I tell people? Ideas are dangerous. Squash them.
Pat, you're so vehement.
Well, maybe it's just that, well, I knew a woman once who loved a man desperately. He too became infatuated with an idea, and the little fool did nothing and lost him. Well, enough of that malarkey. Hey, what do you say we look at them hats and get you a spiffy one for your entree into the Academy of Dramatic Art?
Well, perhaps there is method to your madness.
Shakespeare, ain't it? And who says we ain't highbrow? Scene.
Ideas are dangerous. Squash them.
You get all blue in these scenes. I hope that's all right, darling. You get a little bawdy.
Oh, we don't mind the blue comedy. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the method to your madness. By the way, we have some Justin Squiggs Robertson who makes the Lights at Broadway show cards. He sent over that amazing, beautiful illustration.
Oh my gosh.
He did it, the Divine Sister.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we love Squiggs so much.
Oh gosh.
Charles, that line that she just said, ideas are dangerous. Squash them. What's that amazing line I love that the Mother Superior says in the Divine Sister about the 60s?
Oh yes, what's that? We have. Oh gosh, I never remember my own dialect.
We are standing at the precipice of
we're living in a time of great change. We must do everything in our power to stop it.
She's a horrible person. I just love it. Okay, so I want to talk about the auction, then we'll do the last scene.
Right.
So we have this amazing thing now where people are just finding stuff in their house that they've had for years that they're auctioning off. So like here's Audrey McDonald. This is the baby she had in ragtime. She's auctioning that at the site at starsinthehouse.com. We have Joanna Gleason, who's auctioning off that staff that Bernadette Peters is holding from Into the Woods. I don't know how she has it, but she has it.
Yes,
We have Kristin Chenoweth was wearing this gown on our show Saturday night, which she's now auctioning off. So if you're a size quadruple zero, you'd love it.
She said it could go up to a size 4. Except, by the way, not that I know what that means.
Neither
but
do I.
it goes up to a size 4.
Then wait, what is this amazing picture? Oh my God! So
Oh,
Melissa
right.
Peterman has these boots that Reba McEntire gave her, and they're going to be autographed by Reba McEntire. All these things are at starsinthehouse.com. So I asked Julie, sort of a combination gift from a show that you did with Charles. What can you auction off for us?
Julie?
Well, I have my Vampire Lesbian of Sodom turban.
Oh.
Yes, I have the turban, and this was actually made for the 25th anniversary of VLS that we did at the Music Box. And it's so beautifully made. It's so fantastic, and somebody should have it and wear it.
Oh.
Especially nowadays with no one washing their hair anymore because they're home.
Yes. So anyway, I'm going to donate my VLS turban. And for those of us that are getting older, a turban it's a good thing. Yeah, So that's what I'm going to give.
Hey, that's amazing.
I can't wait. So we're going to end with this scene. So Charles Busch has this brilliant book called Horrors of Lost Atlantis, which tells the story of how Vampire Legends, sort of a fictionalized version, but true, of how he wrote this show like in 1 week you wrote it, right? Basically, you wrote the show in like a week.
I was working as an office temp, so between phone calls as a receptionist, I guess on a slow day, I think it took me about 3 hours. It didn't take very long.
Just drafted off. It wound up playing at this crazy limbo lounge, this weird club. And Julie, what do you always say about that weird club in the East Village? Let's face it.
It was a crack den. And yes, it was. Let's be real. I used to step over people's syringes just to get to the back stage. It was a crack den, and people were doing crack.
What was the bathroom situation like?
There was really no bathroom.
We used to, there was a bathroom for the patrons, but once you got, there's no real stage, but behind the space where we would perform was just kind of a narrow little, passageway kind of thing. And so once we were in place, there was no bathroom to get access to. So the boys in the cast would pee in cups and place them very gingerly on the floor. And unfortunately, the trains with Julie and my gowns would I don't want to get into it, but it was me.
This is really what happened. No joke. I mean, I would just have to hold it for hours. It was ridiculous.
But then when we were doing another play called Theodora, She Bitch of Byzantium, and it was so hot that we did it in the backyard in this kind of sculpture gallery, and we put up some kind of a backdrop on poles, and when Julie, all the neighbors in this looking down would watch the play. It was very Shakespearean. But at one point, Julie had to change clothes, and she's topless and changed in clothes. So everybody's watching her from above, and she turned to Arnie Kolodner, and our leading man, and what'd you say to him?
I just said, Arnie, I just want you to know I really am an adult. I have 3 credit cards.
Charles is really genius. How great. So Charles writes the show in 2 hours while he's camping. He magically raises money with spaghetti dinners, gets investors by making them spaghetti. Crazy. They invest like $100, $200. It moves to off-Broadway, opens, and what was it like when you actually saw the reviews?
Oh my God, it was like the Titanic had been raised with the passengers and crew still alive. It was such a miracle that this had happened, that we had just done, for our own amusement, and just this kind of sweetness of, there was no agenda. And then the fact that we got this incredible rave review in the Times, and then the play ran for 5 years. It was the, I don't know, it was kind of for a long time. It was the longest running non-musical in off-Broadway history. I don't know whether it is that.
Charles, didn't we think that it would actually last like a week?
Well, we only had enough money to get through opening night.
Yes, that was it.
So it was a Brigadoon.
Okay, so I want to recreate me. I want you guys to recreate your original off-Broadway triumph. Describe the characters. They really are. There's a vampire lesbian. Just describe it, and we're going to close with this. So I'm going to get off screen. Describe.
A little bit of a long scene. I hope we have time to do it. The play starts off in ancient Sodom, and I played this innocent young girl who's sacrificed to the mysterious creature, the succubus, who thrives off the blood of young virgins. And that was played by Julie. And so then the next time they meet is centuries later in Hollywood in the 20s. And at this point, the succubus, Julie, is a great silent movie star vamp. And into her life again comes Madeline Astarte, who's a great stage actress from New York. And she's been brought to Hollywood as a rival to La Condesa, Julie. And so this is when I show up as Madeline Astarte, this stage actress. I show up at the Condesa's mansion, and this is their first meeting. Okay. La Condesa, I've traveled all the way from New York just to see you.
Oh, you must not flatter me. All Hollywood knows of your $1 million contract. $1.5, darling, is to keep me in mascara.
Oh,
Madame Astarte, I would love to offer you tea, but unfortunately, I am expecting the columnist Otzi Carew any moment now for an in-depth profile.
Oh, I must stay for that. I do so want to get to know you better. Besides, this will dispel all those awful rumors that we're rivals. But good, you and I rivals. We're entirely different. I'm sort of an elegant grande dame, perhaps a tad too aristocratic for my own good. But you have this marvelous, extraordinary vulgarity, an exhilarating streak of the gutter.
Thank you, Madeline. And if I can be of any help to you, because you know, acting for the screen is a special art. You can't be as hammy and grotesque as you've been on the stage.
I appreciate your offer, Contessa.
Condesa. Dear, have they chosen your first vehicle?
Yes, I am to do the life of Madame du Barry.
You must be mistaken. I am to play du Barry. My costumes are all made.
We're to take in the waist a little. Lay off the pate, Contessa.
Condesa!
After the du Barry picture, for a change of pace, I shall do the title role of Peter Pan. Fly with me, Wendy, to the stars.
But I was supposed to play Peter Pan. I am Peter Pan.
Darling, you've been replaced. Studio wags have been saying that your box office is sinking faster than your bust line.
You conniving, manipulative little...
So kind. They gave me dressing room A.
My dressing room?
And that divine dresser, Mamacita. She's such a darling.
Not Mamacita.
I found this adorable little pooch wandering lost on the back lot.
She stole my dog. That bitch stole my schnauzer. Now you've really gone too far. You imagine yourself quite the cunning little vixen. You have delusions that you can conquer me. Though I have always found you vulgar, I have never taken you for a fool. Until now. Hollywood is my town. Huh! For centuries, you have been an albatross around my neck. First in Rome, I claimed as my bride the most beautiful of Caligula's courtesans. She was mine until you stole her away to China. And we all know what treachery you conspired against me during the Spanish Inquisition, but I triumphed. Did I plot revenge? No. And then, in the 16th century, I had as my mistress the most desired of Queen Elizabeth's ladies-in-waiting. But you, the ever-present vulture, snatched her off to the colonies. Even then, did I choose revenge? No. And why? Because I am a great lady. I conduct myself with dignity and grandeur, whilst you roll around in the gutter, parading your twat on stage and calling it acting. And now, madame, you have gone too far. I am the queen of vampires, and I shall never, never relinquish my hold on Hollywood.
Are you through? As you desire to relive the past, shall we travel even further back in time? Many centuries ago, back in the days of the Bible, there was a young girl, a mere child of 14, a lovely girl, full of high spirits. A lottery was held to choose a sacrificial victim for the dreaded succubus. As fate would have it, she chose the black stone of death. She was dragged by soldiers to the cave of the creature, and there left to her desecration. The monster emerged, and there, under a godless sky, left to rot like a piece of old meat. Oh, I blew this. Creature dug it. There in a godless sky, the creature dug its teeth into the girl's fair flesh. Having gorged itself, the monster retired to its cave, leaving the girl's body to be pecked and devoured as carrion. But the girl did not die. The monster, in its fury, did not even notice that all the while it was sucking the girl's blood. The child herself lodged her teeth into the vein of the monster. In her terror she drank more and more. She filled herself with the creature's fluid, and there, on that bleached rocky point, left to rot like a piece of old meat, the girl did not die, but was transformed into one of the undead, never to find eternal rest, but to stalk the earth forever in search of a victim, forever alone, forever damned. Look at me, I am that girl, and I demand the death of the succubus. Scene.
Guys, so amazing. Look, everyone is just like loving the comments. It's so brilliant.
I memorized 1985, but I don't anymore.
It's so, I mean, I am a great lady. That good. So many brilliant lines. Oh my God. That is so, I never got to see you guys when it was off Broadway. It's just incredible to see the originals again. Oh, maybe we can do that. Talk about that later. Maybe we're going to do the show, actually the full show. Okay, in conclusion, we can't announce that yet. So I'm going to, hold on, I'm going to go into this screen.
Yes, sir.
Charles and Julie, you're all going to be back. Tonight we have, at some point, because it's going to be going on for a while. Tonight, 8 p.m.
We've got the reunion of Taxi. It's our first TV reunion.
8 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow
right,
afternoon, the people that wrote Frozen and a lot of the stars, Jonathan Groff, Josh Gad, Santina Fontana. Tomorrow night, the cast of TV's
This Is Us.
We got a lot coming up.
And yes, we've got some of them singing.
So, Charles,
Fantastic.
you raised so much money. Thank you so much. You're going to be back. The backdrop is lovely. The library, the lighting, Julie, it all works.
Oh, hold on. I think we have a few more people. Eric from New York, $50. Thank you so much. Ian from New York, $25. He spells it like Ian Armitage.
Oh, that's funny.
And Gregory from New Jersey, $100. Thank you very much. I know we're out of time.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you guys so much.
I'm going to bring on, just to say goodbye, Ian and Dr. LaPook. Hold on, let me see if I can get them.
Yes.
Here comes cutie Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hi.
There's Dr. LaPook, and there is.
How you guys doing? That was me, actually. The person who donated who spells his name like mine.
That's you?
What was the amount?
$25.
But from New York? I thought you were in
I
Virginia.
don't know why it said from New York. That was me.
Well, there you go. Adorable. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. See you next
Bye,
time.
everyone.
You two are amazing.
Aw,
Thank you, everyone else.
Jeffrey, that was
Bye,
amazing.
guys.
Everyone is
So good.
amazing.
And broadcast.